Hi everyone, it's Jaymie here. I'm a mindset coach and energy healer for nonconformists. I'm based in LA, and today I want to talk to you guys about Mercury retrograde. It's right around the corner, and I just want to remind you guys that it's not this shit show that it's known for. I just think that it's really misunderstood. And instead of focusing on what Mercury retrograde isn't, I want to take the time to share with you guys what Mercury retrograde is and provide you guys with practical application and tools that you can use so that you guys could really be in retrograde flow. I believe Mercury retrograde is an astrological blessing. It's designed to hack a system for us that actually encourages and supports us in the same way that spiritually successful entrepreneurs design their lives and their business. Because you figure Mercury retrograde happens about 4 times a year, once a season. And you look at all these successful business models, and they are literally reflecting on their quarterly reviews 4 times a year. And that's exactly what Mercury retrograde offers us. And it's not just a time to reflect on this, but there's literally energetic support. This is a time when there's less forward movement is encouraged. So, it's usually known as like, oh, this is when communication goes awry, people misunderstand each other, technology goes haywire. Basically, forward movement tends to slow down and becomes a little static. So things related to transportation, your vehicle, flying, delivery, starting contracts, moving into new places, anything kind of new, mental activity tends to slow down. And it's not because Mercury retrograde is trying to fuck with our lives. That's not it at all. It's just that in order to have a healthy, balanced life, it's so important not just to do, and go, which is the world that we live in. And so the best way for us to sort of reflect on ourselves is to be in a space where we're less in our heads so that we have more access to our intuition, our feelings, our emotions, and to get more into our bodies. But we live in a world that isn't really designed for that. So Mercury retrograde is literally energetically create in these tools to really encourage that for us. And since it's really a good time for us to reflect on ourselves quarterly anyways, I think that Mercury retrograde is such a beautiful blessing. Not just for your business, for those of you guys who are entrepreneurs, but for anyone to reflect on your life. We have seasons. Nature has a very beautiful synergy, and following it is so absolutely tremendous. And for entrepreneurs, it's not just about looking at your finances and your projections and your goals and your launch strategies, but you're also looking at the wealth of your health vitality, because your business is an extension of you, and you have to be at your best for your business to be at your best. And so I just want to invite you guys to reevaluate the relationship that you have with Mercury retrograde based on how you perceive it to be. And believe me when I say I know what I'm talking about. I used to think that I was Mercury retrograde's bitch. I mean, I've gotten fired. I've had over clients misunderstanding the schedule that they gave me, which was later reflected in the email. I've had clients fly me out to the wrong location. I've been hired based on photo submissions, and they were upset that I didn't look like my photo when they actually confused me for another Asian girl. I've literally gotten hired based on false expertise because they got my resume confused with someone else. So I got fired even though that's not my fault. I've had insane things happen. I've lost my phone 3 times. I was left behind on a traveling bus. I've had people attack me thinking that I was somebody else. I mean, you guys, it got so bad that I had a friend who was absolutely convinced that I was being possessed by a demon. I had some dark entities or spirits. I believe in these things, but that's not what happened. I was just trying to push through things when I really shouldn't have. I was ignoring my intuition, and I was being very self-entitled and egotistical, thinking like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Mercury retrograde can't stop me, not realizing like it's not about stopping me. It's about really reflecting on what's actually best for me. And when I started collaborating with Mercury retrograde, I just had such a different experience, because this is the best time to connect with your intuition, your feelings, your emotions, and to go inward. And so when you do that and you are focusing on yourself and you're deeply committed to that, then there's no reason for Mercury retrograde to say, hey, this is not the time to start new things, because it doesn't want you to start new things because it doesn't want you to be distracted. So when you work on your shit, a lot of that stuff doesn't necessarily have to apply to you. The traditional, the warnings, the cautionary tales of Mercury retrograde, so to speak. It's just a really great time to interact and navigate yourself differently. It's a great opportunity to not have to rely on verbal communication, to trust body language, to communicate in a different way. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. And it's a good time for you to access your feelings and emotions, things that you've been stuck around, really asking yourself, what are some areas that you've really persistently tried to figure out that you haven't been able to figure out? Because time slows down, you are able to really excavate and unpack those stuck energy. It gives you more access, more insight. And because feelings and emotions exist in the body, it's a great time to reflect on your health and get insights on what's been going on so that you can actually get that health vitality that you maybe been experiencing as sort of lacking. It's also a great time to reflect on your goals, because its adjustments are necessary. But oftentimes, a lot of people tend to create goals coming from this place of being very practical, and I want to make sense and I want it to be logical. And so then you're more prone to look at what other people say is gonna work, and you look at all these people with all these great track records, and that's great and all. But the reason why most goals aren't sustainable is because they're not actually created to be customized for you, and there's not another you that you can look at and be like, hey, is this gonna work? So you have to kind of do trial and error and experiment with lots of time, and that can be really consuming. But during Mercury retrograde, you're able to look inward. So take the time to look at your goals and look at, what is it that I want? Why do I want these things? Have I achieved the goals that I wanted to achieve? Why or why not? What's worked? What hasn't? What's not sustainable? And most importantly, ask yourself, what's going to be sustainable for you? Because what's going to be sustainable for you a lot of times doesn't seem practical on the surface, and that's why you haven't been able to sustain it, because it's not this easy answer. And so rather than having to take up so much time experimenting, this is a way to speed it up by listening to yourself. You have more access to that part of you that has those unconscious, subconscious information without having to constantly navigate and doing all of this trial and error. It's a beautiful time to kind of be very efficient in a different way. So I highly encourage you to check in with yourself emotionally and to reflect on your goals. This is just I know I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. It's a great time to do this, and I hope that you take advantage of this upcoming Mercury retrograde, which I believe starts on July 7th. I hope that this message has resonated with you. If you want more support and guidance that's specifically customized to what's going to work for you, and this includes, your health, your specific goals, your elements. I've noticed that fire elements tend to be very different in the way that they navigate Mercury retrograde, which is a watery element. These are people who tend to be go, 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 do, 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 There are other ways to navigate Mercury retrograde to be really receptive, because there is, I think, this sort of ego death that takes place, and you have to learn to trust. There are tools and things that you can use, and I would love to support you on this, which is why I want to host a workshop on this, because I think so many people have had just crazy shit show Mercury retrogrades, or kind of mundane Mercury retrogrades, because we haven't been taught to leverage and maximize these amazing Mercury retrogrades, or balance it out if it's more of a tumultuous energy for you based on your natural predispositions, your astrological sign, whatever is going on in your life. And I've just had such a deep and intimate relationship with Mercury retrograde, and I have supported so many people in really being in retrograde flow. It's something that I'm so passionate about. I would have saved myself so much insanity and madness if I knew some of these things, and I would love to share this with you guys. If this is something that you're interested in, go ahead, comment below with retrograde flow and write down your schedule of the days that work best for you. I'm super excited to connect with you guys. This is for those of you guys living in LA, and for anyone who's watching this that isn't from LA, I hope that this video has given you some insights. If you have any questions, please comment below. Feel free to friend request me, and I look forward to connecting with you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!